Hey everybody, Adam Perry here with TrueDFS, and I am going to go over tonight's four-game NHL DFS slate. Four games is pretty good for this time of year. The series are, all starting to kind of wind down, and so we won't have this for too long. So if you've watched day in and day out, you kind of know the drill. I say like and subscribe and check out these tools at truedfs.com. You get access to SaberSim, you get access to the pay dirt models, Sheets' projections, Goldie's projections that we're going to use right now. And the price is not much different than you'd pay for these if you were getting them a la carte. I mean, you're paying about $20 more to get all that extra stuff. You get the premium Discord. We're always in there. We're in the live channel on the Discord talking about late swaps and all these things. So there's a lot of added value, and it's really worth checking out. Now, the other thing is if you've seen these videos, you kind of know the process already. So we go over it day in and day out. We do just about the same thing without many changes. If you've seen it a few times, you probably don't need to even see it again, which is a good thing. But we want to keep getting reps in, keep doing the process, keep showing the process. And if you are new out there, you'll hopefully learn something about not just who the plays are, but how we build lineups using SaberSim. So let's go ahead and build. I'm going to start on DraftKings using Goldie's projections. And four-game slate, I don't want anything less than 4 threes. Now, some people go ahead and build all of them and then X them out after. I prefer to not even build or grade those lineups. Why grade them if I'm going to X them out after anyway? I'd rather get as many of the high correlated lineups that I like to play in there anyway. So I'm going to turn those on, and then I'm going to run a sim. After we get done with building some lineups on DraftKings and building some lineups on FanDuel, we'll take a look at what the top bets in the pay model are. We went 1-1 yesterday. We hit the assist bet, which is usually the hard one to hit. We missed our shot on goals bet. The pay model has been really cool, though, all year. We kind of got to doing it towards the end of the season. We had really good results. Overall, the ROI was about 5% on NHL prop bets. So, we're really happy to have access to this pay model. It's another thing you get with TrueDFS.com. So check it out. If you want it, if you're not ready to get your feet wet, there's always the trials. You could go ahead, jump on, try it out for a week or two, see how you like it. We are confident that you'll stay. All right, retrieving lineups. Let's go. Let's run the sim. Simulations are running. So if you are new to this, what we're doing with the contest simulation is we're saying, okay, we built all these lineups. Now, let's say the field, these other 1,700 people in the flagship play, these other lineups that we expect them to play. How are these going to perform? How will they grade? What will their ROI be? And it's never perfect because it always assumes that our inputs, like the projections, are perfect and that we perfectly predict how that field's going to go. But let's say we're running. I think it's like a 47 entry today, like that. So let's see what our top stacks would be. It already looks like Minnesota's going to be in there a lot. A lot of 4-3s today. Over 50%. Usually SaberSim likes the onslaughts, but we're getting a lot of 4-3s today. Let's see. Kings, Minnesota. Pretty spread out, though. Minnesota on the onslaughts is our highest. So, we could make changes to this. We could say, look, whoops, that's just more Minnesota than we want to play. They have the lowest total on the slate. And yeah, they're cheap. Yeah, we get leverage, but we don't want to take that much risk on any team, especially a low projected team. So we could say, cap it at a third of our portfolio, something like that, and then get some diversity in there. Maybe we want the Kings. They're a little bit better, but nothing too special. So maybe we cap them at just a little over that and get a nice spread here. So now we're pretty spread out. Second highest total on the slate is Edmonton, and we've got them as our highest stack. The one thing we don't get a ton of is the Colorado with the highest projection, but that's okay. We're looking for leverage in GPPs. So Let's see. Let's take a look if there's any one player where we think we're overexposed to. 40% Draisaitl, I think that's okay. We've got a lot of exposure on Dano. We're okay with that. Let's just do one thing. Let's remember that Edmonton is our highest, followed by the Kings and Minnesota. And the reason I say that is because we're going to go build on FanDuel as well. And, let's say we build 20 lineups on FanDuel. Let's switch it over to Goldie's projections. We don't necessarily want to be over leveraged on those same exact teams, right? We're trying to build a diverse portfolio here. DFS is tough. It's high variance. So let's maybe not get so much Minnesota, Edmonton, and the Kings here. Maybe we will. I mean, sometimes a play is just that good. But let's see. And I'm going to do the same thing here of taking away these low correlated stacks. I don't want anything less than a 4-man on FanDuel. I just don't think that's really playing right. We're going to X them out after the fact, so let's only grade our top lineups. See, series. What are all these at? I'm not like a no puck guy. I don't know a ton about the NHL, but let's see. So 3-2, 3-2, 3-2, 3-2. So I imagine we're going to at least get one series on tonight. We'll see what happens. Could have a lot of game sevens, though, which will be exciting hockey, especially for the first round, The other thing it'll mean is more NHL DFS. Can't complain about that. So let's see who we're getting to on SaberSim. It's going to start with Sabres score. We're going to quickly just run the simulations to see who we get to. We'll say we're running 20 lineups here. So a lot of Nylander, which is a good sign, which means we're probably getting to a whole lot of Toronto. Yeah, 55% Toronto, 7% or 7 lineups with Colorado, then some LA, Ottawa, Dallas, Edmonton's low, Minnesota's low. I mean, I like this, right? Because I really like the way that these 4-man stacks are complementing what we did on DraftKings, so we're not getting overexposed. One of the great things about SaberSim is it knows how many lineups you're playing. And so it builds you a portfolio of lineups. And it'll do that for when you build lineups on DraftKings. And it'll do that for when you build lineups on FanDuel. But what it doesn't know is that you're playing DraftKings and FanDuel. And your money is one portfolio, even if you may have 2 portfolios of lineups across the both sites. So when we're thinking of diversity and spreading things out, we have to think about how our money is playing and what we have in play on both FanDuel and DraftKings. So I like that we got to a lot of diversity today. Sometimes we'll force that in. Sometimes we're just happy with the plays. But I'm going to take this. So what we would do is 10 minutes before lock, when the projections are as sharp as possible, the ownership is dialed in, we'd run the same 10-minute process and we'd send it off, and those would be our lineups. And the only thing we have to do is look at this window, right? Because you got a 6 o'clock Central and a 6:30 Central game, then 8:30 and 9. So depending on how our lineups are doing, we're going to consider late swaps, right? If our lineups are doing poorly, we may want to get off the chalk. If our lineups are doing well, we may want to get on some chalk. So that's the thing we got to look out for. But that's all we have to do tonight is a 10-minute process and a 5 to 10 minute late swap, depending on how we're doing, and we're pretty set. So that's about it. Let's take a look at the pay dirt model. I'm going to post these in Discord as well. Remember, if you're a premium Discord member, you get access to that, but you also get access to this whole model, right? So I've just been looking at like the top couple bets. What do we got for shots on goals? What do we got for assists? But there are so many bets in here, and you could definitely find some nice ROIs in all 4 games. So let's see, like our best edge on an over on shots on goal is 25%. Best edge on the under looks a little better. Now, I will say 35%, this has the same problem as the Sims, is it takes into account all our inputs and that our assumptions are perfect. They're not, but we expect about a 5% ROI in the long run on these prop bets. So and we've got Wyatt Johnson under 2 shots on goal at plus 100 as the top shots on goal bet. Kuzmenko, we've been betting. We've got that 191 in decimal odds. I think that's like a minus 105. Let's see. Let's convert. I get these wrong all the time. I don't know in my head. Yeah, minus 110. Okay. So minus 110, Kuzmenko under 1.5 shots on goal Looks like a high ROI bet. Let's take a look at assists. Sometimes we like to bet these assist long shots. Let's see who the best edge is to notch an assist. Wow, that's a big edge, right? We don't expect 47%, but let's say it's 8%. That's a pretty big edge. Charlie Coyle, plus 400 for an assist tonight for the Avalanche. I like it. Now, it's a 4-1, 5-1 bet, so don't just bet a full unit on it, right? If you're using Kelly, think about something like that. If you're not using Kelly, just take it down to like a quarter unit or a half unit, something like that. So yeah, with that, I'm going to go post these in Discord. Remember, you get access to all of it. So like and subscribe, check out TrueDFS.com. You may find that the site's a little confusing, right? We're going through a site update where we're going to consolidate everything and make everything streamlined. So it's just going to get even better. So check that out and good luck on tonight's slate. Let's go.